Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests bring you insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for soul growth. Come journey with us through astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Hello, everybody. I'm Sue Rose Minahan. Today is Talk Cosmos on our monthly panel with Kaleidoscope Visions, looking at the 4 lunar phases for the Virgo new moon. In fact, we have 2 of them this month. We are in the eclipse season, and that happens twice a year. It's a couple weeks out before the lunar eclipse, and we'll talk about that a great deal. It's really a mutable time because of these eclipses with the nodes. It's always a time when the new moon or the full moon is within a certain degrees. We'll cover that too, but with the nodes. And so there's big shifts, and we're asked to do that.
Understanding the cosmic energies influencing our consciousness by the 4 major moon phases for the month, this is your Kaleidoscope Visions panel.
I'm Sue Rose Minahan, founder of Talk Cosmos since 2018. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, consultant, speaker, writer, vibrational astrology student, Dwarf Planet University graduate, Kepler Astrology Toastmasters Club charter member. I have a fine arts music degree plus a certificate in jazz. I'm an artist, musician, and certified color energy life coach. Especially, I love mythology and esoteric philosophies.
I'm Amanda Pierce. I'm a soul-centered astrologer, blending intuition into my practice. I believe the universe is always working for our highest good and seek to empower my clients in our readings. I teach a 4-week series of empowerment-based meditation classes that connect you deeper into your own intuition and innate power. I work in communications with a passion for employee experience. I also have a BA in psychology. I'm passionate about healing and enjoy helping others create new realities and shift old paradigms.
And I'm John Chinworth, a Seattle astrologer with more than 25 years' experience. I use a blend of evolutionary, traditional, and archetypal techniques and constantly attend workshops and lectures to further hone my skills. I hold an MFA in poetics, an MA in teaching, and an astrological diploma. I've lectured at NORWAC and served on the WSAA board. I have worked in general and special education classrooms, both as a teacher and mentor. I also enjoy reading, penning poems, riding a bike, and going on road trips around the great state of Washington.
And like the Sufi poet Rumi says,
You are the entire ocean in a drop.
Hello, Amanda Pierce, and hello, John Chinworth. Hi.
Hello. Good to be here with you both.
Yes, indeed. I guess I muted myself. It must be a lot like retrograde Mercury that still is in effect till tomorrow, I believe, the 25th.
We're still in that shadow. Yeah.
We are. Plus the fact that all the outers are retrograde. Well, not except for Uranus. And besides that, we're in this eclipse season. That's really what I wanted to say. We're in an eclipse season that happens twice a year. And of course, it's ruled by Mercury. Well, the south node is ruled by Mercury. Let's get into our slides and we can discuss it then. Thank you. We have Amanda Pierce. You can contact her at amandamoonastrology@gmail.com. And John Chinworth website is skypathastro.com, and I'm at Talk Cosmos. So there's 8 phases. We're focusing on the 4 major. There's 2 quarters. There's the new moon. Can't see it because the Earth is blocking the moon. And then there's the quarter moons, which looks like a half moon. And then the full moon, which will be an eclipse. The dates begin as of a couple of days ago, August 23rd, and it's 0 degrees Virgo. You know, we have 2. The next show that we have will be the eclipse, which will be 29 degrees Virgo, be a solar eclipse. And the lunar is right smack dab in the middle at 15 degrees. But it's in Pisces, the opposite. It's always the opposite, full moon's polarity. And the dates you can see are here. We'll go through them as we discuss them. But Mercury is still in Leo. In fact, this entire retrograde path stayed in Leo. unlike other times. And we're in the finishing up that post shadow path. It started on July. The the retrograde actually started on July 1st, on the 4th. But, you can't see this whole thing. Darn, that's too bad. Are you seeing the whole screen? No.
It's missing the where it goes direct, which is on August 25th for everybody.
Yeah, so it goes on at 15 degrees Leo. Okay. I downloaded this in a PowerPoint instead of a PDF, so perhaps that's it. Did you have any comments here? It seems like I've been doing a online version of retrogrades, but if you have some comments, go ahead. No. Okay.
It seems to be lightning now, like a typical Mercury retrograde period. There are a few things that happen, but it does feel normally phasing out,
Yeah, but Mercury will be still so strong with the South Node always in Virgo. It is a major game player, and sometimes it's not. It's events. Like I had appliances go out, the air conditioner, the refrigerator, the elevator here, and I didn't think much about it, although I worked with it. And somebody else said Mercury retrograde, and I went, "Oh, that's true," because I always think of it as internal. But yes, it made for shifts. Anyway, we are working always as a tandem relationship with the universe, that reflection. And part of it is out of bounds when the orbit goes beyond what the sun's path is, which is at the 23 degrees, 26 minutes. The moon will be at the first and third quarter. Hygeia has been for an extended period of time, and she represents purity of thought, and toxicity has a lot to do with health, the health of anything. And her location is in the asteroid belt, but that remains for last month, this month, and perhaps next month. I haven't checked. Pluto, our transformation planet, the dwarf planet, will be as a first quarter onward. And in the eclipse season, it's bound to be. But I think Pluto is in that period where Pluto will be out of bounds a great deal. It's a 10-year period, like the moon. The moon is a 10-year period that goes in and out. Shall I go on?
Let's go on.
Okay, retrograde. We're in an amazing cycle. Yes, Mercury will be completed as of, and I didn't even put Dear Mercury down because as of tomorrow will be complete. But Ceres, who is a dwarf planet, and I have this in location of their solar cycle where they are in the system. And so that has a lot to do with our nurturing. Pallas Athena, our strategy, and Aquarius, Saturn, what is essential, in Aries, going back to Pisces. Yeah, my slides didn't transfer well, and that's my own error. I was testing. Thank you, Saturn. It didn't work. Oh, gosh. And Neptune, Pluto, Eris. I'll go on. A comment, John, or did you know? Okay. The new moon. As of a few days ago, this is a powerhouse. It was 0 degrees right at the very beginning of Virgo, 0 degrees, 23 minutes. On the 23rd, here in Hawaii, it was the 22nd, but most places it was the 23rd. And on the East Coast, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, a few minutes after, 6 minutes after. So it's looking at Mercury in Leo.
Yeah, it's 0 degrees Virgo, which is the beginning. And 0 degrees, you could think of the Fool archetype from the tarot. There's a lot of potential before manifestation, and the Fool holds all of the possibilities and has no attachments to it. So it's kind of stepping into life with openness and with faith in the universe.
that it's going to work out, and kind of being in the magic of it.
New canvas. Well, we shall see what progresses. Yes, John.
So the sun, a new moon is, of course, a conjunction between the sun and the moon. And if we scan this chart, there are so many conjunctions, like pairs of planets together. You have Juno, Vesta, Saturn, Neptune, Eris, Chiron, and I guess widely we're calling Jupiter, Venus. Why not? So conjunction is like fusion or union or bond, and these two planets are joining forces together. So this new moon starts out not only at the beginning of Virgo, where we purify things, get started, a new kind of clean-ish kind of outlook. We work together. We combine with the sources around us to see what we can create. I think it's kind of manifesting a little bit.
Absolutely. There are some. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I want to say also that yes, this is a standard new moon, but it's also the new moon that is seeding the potential for our full moon eclipse that we're going to be looking at. So this is the foundation that we're working with in this month. And with Virgo, it's not about perfection. We're letting that go. We're doing our best. We're moving forward. It's about kind of externally decluttering things and internally decluttering as well, or internally refining our habits, our emotions, our thoughts. It's kind of like we're just getting things cleaned up, and we're starting the movement here at the new moon. And it's going to start to progress a bit more as we keep going, but just put one foot in front of the other and start wherever you're feeling that need to kind of declutter and clean things up for yourselves. Just take some steps.
Absolutely. Yes. There's a great deal of reflection involved with that. And I am reminded of a Substack article that came into my email, and it commented, I didn't get a chance to really research that there's a yod with this particularly, if we might get to it, but that, in other words, it hasn't happened since 1989 or 306 BC, which, I like to look back and see what parallels is in history. But still, the fact that you're both bringing out that this is seeding an eclipse, that in one cycle we have 0 to 29 is rather incredulous. It really is, and a perfection. Virgo, I think many times it's a matter of how do we organize? How can we refine that organization so it's more efficient, not quite so cluttered with details? I know that's one of the issues I'm doing is like clear, re-sift. Let's look at the squares. Those are action points. So the sun and the moon itself is experiencing a lot of change with Uranus. And indeed, our action planet, Mars, that is wanting to be in equilibrium because it's in Libra of balance, is still looking at how do I do that with my big ideas or the big picture or my philosophy of Jupiter with what I hold dear emotionally, my tribe, my people, or does it still work?
With the square to Uranus and Gemini, I was thinking, Uranus brings all the sudden ideas in Gemini, like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. So it might feel like an overwhelm.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes, indeed.
And so you just, I'm getting a lot of ideas right now. Jot some good ones down. Let some fly by. Of course, you can't process everything at the same time, but take what you can use,
Yeah, and discern. I mean, this is the Virgo energy of discernment. Yes, I said something else, didn't I? Not Virgo. Yeah, the discernment of Virgo. I think this with Uranus square the moon, we may get these out of the blue flashes that come in, whether they're like John says, new information coming in or new awarenesses about ourselves. Yes. Something coming forward into our consciousness that was sudden, unexpected, but it's meant to kind of seed this period for us and move us forward. And Sue, like you were mentioning, one of the shadows of is Virgo is just getting it too in your head about it and getting into that analysis paralysis. So just taking some steps, just whatever if you see it, notice it, and then say, okay, I'm going to set some intentions here this month to
new moon.
Make some movement.
And right now is an excellent time, or will be after tomorrow. It'll be a crescent moon when the light's beginning. You'll be out of the path of the retrograde, so it's a clear slate, because we're really feeling this new moon still. We're in the crux of it. And I was thinking, too, with everything you're both saying, that Mercury, what are we excluding and what are we including or excluding, within or that we see without? And sometimes, and it is the experience. It's not just, as you say, in the head, because I know myself, I've been introspecting along with this, and suddenly I've had some ahas like, oh, gee, I feel better because of recognizing, as you say, the noticing of an experience. There is this yod. Go ahead. I'm trying to roll along. Go ahead.
Oh, just quickly, that conjunction of Chiron, Eris square, it looked like it was Venus. They were talking about people being left out. Well, Eris is the one who's left out. And it's next to Chiron, which is the bridge builder. Like, we need to reach out to people that need to be included. And, of course, to do with love, square. It may not be easy, but to strive for that anyway.
I love that word, bridge. Thank you. Absolutely, because the path crosses Uranus and Saturn. So it is from the structure to the breaking of the habits. I mean, the new, perfect. Well, there is this yod. It's a finger of God. Generally speaking, it has a focal planet. But problem is, especially with a transit, it's not in cahoots. It doesn't get along with the mode or the element of the other two planets that are connected. But it's a matter of an adjustment. So we try our best, and it's just a process that we're really working through. But so in this seed point, it is the sun and the moon. That's what this, I wish I remembered his name. I think it's Planet Wave, Eric Francis. I think he's the one that did mention this about 306 BC, and also of 1989, which was fascinating. It was the year before I went back to school for college. So we have the big powerhouse of Saturn and Neptune at the Aries point, 0 degrees still, close, with transformating, if that's a word, transmutative Pluto.
It's like there's so much, like, it's like, how can I put it into words? Great cosmic therapy. You have Pluto who wants to go deep, and you have Saturn, like, let's build this, and Neptune's like, let's dream this, but how do they work together? All with the sun and moon, and of course the in conjunction, like, you're going to work on this, it may not resolve. Good luck.
Right, but it is using the key of spirit. Because, or spirit, whatever you want to call it. I know myself how I verbalize it, but how it connects to others, whatever it is, where it's that one mind, because the Sabian itself is an unsealed letter, 30 degrees Leo, which is just prior. And that's the one mind that whatever our thoughts are, everybody can read. So Saturn, the essential, and Neptune of the extraordinary can be, in vibrational astrology, looked at as spirit. So that's our unseen, perhaps what we're not including enough, or we're trying to decide too much what's going to happen, and we're not letting the universe just fill in the best part.
Yeah, and Pluto and Neptune and Saturn are all working together. They've got that sextile energy. So they're in alignment, and Pluto wants us to step into our power authentically in ways that are unique to only us, like just that are correct for us. And Neptune and Saturn are wanting to manifest this new self-identity for ourselves. And it's putting this pressure on this moon and sun in Virgo, where there's this energy of like, oh, it's little old me. How am I going to stand up to this? How am I going to make this transformation?
But we'll kind of go fast forward, because we're still at the first new moon. We have 5 minutes or 7. And I'm thinking that really the memory would be that we're seeding something that's in a big process. So these feelings that we're having, like you had said, one step at a time, just let it happen and keep going forward. Because we can't get caught in the weeds.
We don't have the big picture now.
No.
It's just about focusing on what details we have and taking some steps.
And it's emotional. Look at this, a grand trine with the North Node where we're trying to unify the one unity of peoplehood, humanity, with the big picture and what's important close, with all that emotional, deep-seated Scorpion committed relationships in the hearth. Wow, not a small task.
I think this is one of the keys as well for this month is that the tuning into our emotions and really tuning into the wisdom that we have in our emotions. I think this is the Jupiter piece that's coming up for us this whole year. Jupiter in Cancer, there's wisdoms in how we feel. Yeah. And to tune into that and what is it telling us? Is this right for us? Is it not?
It's a constant, evolution of reflection. John, did you have a thought or should we jump on? Okay. No. We have here mini trines. Just realize that there's one ongoing that is going to be for years, actually, and the degrees will change. And that is with this miraculous unity with Neptune and Saturn. Now, Saturn will leave Aries, but Neptune in particular will still be a key factor. And they'll shift, at least for the next few years here, with Pluto and also Uranus. But jumping down to the other one, there's another focus. Like this distinctly is saying, once again, hey, you got to figure out what to let go. Virgo with the South Node always is a matter of letting go. But let's look at the point of Thales, okay? And that is another pattern where there's a focal planet and it's where there's an opposition. But here we have a helper, sextile and connecting. And in this case, it would be just that factor of those asteroids.
I think there's with Juno and Vesta in Scorpio here, there's an energy of stepping deeper into intimacy with your own needs, which is Vesta, that sacred flame, and in our committed relationships and really showing up as we are. And just by doing that creates that Scorpio intimacy that sometimes we think of in different terms, but it's just being us.
Wow. I love how you say things. John, I didn't mean to.
Vesta, Juno, and Scorpio wanting to go for a deeper kind of relationship, I guess, but it's also in Virgo, which adds the I can't think of the word I was going to say as usual.
Oh, no, but it's mental.
You have some discrimination about what you're getting into. So Virgo and Scorpio balance each other out very well in this.
Indeed. It's a sifting process, indeed. And really, those nodes are what the eclipses are all about. So it's a toggle going between it. We have last month, we had tons of kites, and there will be even next month as planets go into Libra. But here, and this is again a focal point, but there's that flowing trine with another planet that connects part of it in a sextile. And so we focus on that. And once again, our celebratory hero or heroine is the South Node. So it really is an entire energy process part of this, besides the yod that had the sun and the moon, is looking at where can we release, where can we improve, what will help us improve, yes, and with our emotions.
Yeah, a big focus on feeling, and with that, the North Node in Pisces, and just surrendering into that, and through doing that, we can release that Virgo South Node, which is the overcritical behavior and overthinking things, needing things to be perfect. Just let it go.
Wow. Surrender. I always love that. Well, we have the first quarter. Maybe we can present. It's a crisis in action, unlike the seeding point. Now these things have been evolving. This is going to happen in next week on the 31st, Sunday, right on Monday, I believe, here in the north. It's a waxing moon. The light is increasing. It's half lit. It's in the morning again, East Coast time, 2:25. And of course, with Sagittarius, because they're all mutable, well, that's how it follows through. It's going to be Jupiter, the big picture person or energy.
This is the crisis in action part of the phase where it's the moon has moved away from the sun and it's making a square. And I always think of plants, and this is the point where the sprouts have come up, and is it going to survive, or is it going to grow up into a tree or whatever it's supposed to become? And it's getting the most challenges. And in Sagittarius, it's being challenged by big ideas and the big world, maybe,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
You
and
know what I'm
Jupiter,
saying?
right?
The
Jupiter,
overwhelmingness of it.
yeah, Jupiter and Mercury are the big team players here, along with the Sun, because they're all in these T squares, and it means what we're thinking. We're putting new information into new philosophies of emotional philosophies of what's really of close to us, and is it close to us, or can we let go of it? Cancer doesn't like to let go, and also that refining part of ourselves is a huge process.
Yeah,
There's
Moon and
the
Sag.
risk of losing the fight. Sorry, I just saw this Jupiter square Ceres and Mars. Mars the fight. Ceres that goddess of loss. So Jupiter's like fighting for something that it might lose, which might be very
Or
uncomfortable.
has lost and want to regain it.
Yeah,
Amanda,
sure.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Moon in Sagittarius can also be really crystallized in its beliefs. And I think that's part of what we're going to come across in this first quarter moon, that our beliefs are going to be challenged. The ones that are crystallized, the ones that we think are
Yes.
unmovable, but
Always. And those attachments.
And so we have to let go that and believe maybe, this is something else could happen. It could be different.
In mentally speaking, attachments are like, oh yeah, I understand that, because we change our calendar. We rip off one page, we go to the next. But when it's really an emotional attachment and it's dug in there deep, it's like, I think of Rick Levine that says the crab will rather have its claw torn off than let go. It's like, sometimes it is so tough. Let's try to get through this. We're a little over. If I might just be that, which is lovely. There's a lot to pack out. But with the first quarter, which is a crisis in action coming up, we have a couple of other factors that are just in the backbone going, oh, but they don't fit. Because it's not in the yod, but they're one-to-one. And one is with strategy and who we are, like, how are we going to figure this out? And the other was, how are we going to, because I'm looking at the two of them, interpreting it rather than specifying it. Pluto with Hygeia, the toxicity, like, is this really pure? Is this really, how does this fit with me? Do I need this or not? Is this empowering me or not? Because Pluto always needs empowerment, like, how does it serve your resources? Okay, I'll jump. You're so wonderful. Well, gee.
I'll just say one other thing about the moon. It's opposing Uranus in this first quarter. In the new moon, it was square Uranus. This time it's opposing it. So whatever was brought forward to our consciousness during that new moon period, it's going to come back around again. And we're going to see it with a bit more clarity, because with an opposition, you can see what you're up against.
Yeah. That's so true. A good point. And there's help. There's a lot of flowing energies that you can look at if you get to, because this is a stepping stone. Yes. I mean, it's part of that crisis, like you've indicated, John and Amanda, that how are we going to prune? What's the shape of it? It kind of puts it more formalized. We haven't experienced it yet, but what's really going to hit is that lunar eclipse. But here we have the moon what did I say? No, not the moon, but Jupiter and the moon are really allies here to help us process that. And interestingly, Jupiter, because that rules the moon. So we have a lot of help, I'd say. Yes? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, can we squeeze this in? That chart as a nation here in the United States, which has been really going through enormous change and in the foreseeable future too, has a north node. And with this quarter, part of the process is that our thinking, our Venus will be attached to that. So we'll be really looking at our values in Leo at 6 degrees Leo as Venus goes across, and Mercury with the health of us at 25 degrees Leo. But then importantly, we have Mars, our action planet. So we're thinking of our values, about how we're going forward for our manifestation. Mercury, and then Mars action with what's the structure? How do we balance this out? We'll be in the soup. Okay. We'll have another chance to look at it. And I thank you, John Chinworth and Amanda Pierce. And thank you, everybody listening. We'll be back in just a jiffy. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Kaleidoscope Visions. Thank you.
While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the yin period of Virgo. By leaving a cycle based on the creative manifested legacy of our highest creative form, the energy of Virgo completes the last sign below the horizon of the self and requires discernment to perfect oneself through the mental process of critical analysis. As a mutable earth sign duly ruled by Mercury, Virgo refines, heals, or fixes through daily routines, developing skills and services to control nature's chaos and maximize efficiency.
Talk Cosmos brings insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for the soul growth with hour-long programs. Talk Cosmos weekly programs are also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. Or if you'd rather listen to the show archives with audio only, the entire podcast collection since 2018 is available on most podcast carriers. And to find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com. So grab your coffee, tea, or kombucha and enjoy the show.
This is Martha Norwalk. Every Sunday morning, beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to newprosupplements.com, we cover the world of animals. This week, August 31st, it's an encore presentation. Tune in to hear our last healing show with Dr. Nels Rasmussen and Linda Rasmussen. Together, they helped callers and their animal friends with emotional, behavioral, and physical issues, and you can receive a surrogate healing just by listening and following along with Linda's instructions. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Don't let that herd mentality lead you off a cliff. We support thinking for yourself on Alternative Talk 1150.
Hello, everybody, and we have Kaleidoscope Visions, our monthly podcast, YouTube, with Amanda Pierce at Amanda Moon Astrology and John Chinworth with Sky Path Astro. And just to remind folks that Talk Cosmos have several, in fact, if other programs weekly. And last week was about the Virgo new moon in a different format, showing a lot of the archetypal support with the astrology. So if you want to get involved, quite like what is this new moon that we're working with, you can look at that. And next week will be Astro Jam. A lot of fun. And we're going to do a totally different approach with both eclipses, where we have a team members that'll be planets, and it'll be the mystery of how are they going to express these dynamic thoughts. So tune in for that. And thank you, everybody, for subscribing. To comment, there is still time to join Fractal Cosmos. Go to fractalcosmos.org It's online. It's the first time. It's vibrational astrology. It has a lot of insights. And last but not least, I'm in a conference, and it's not a conference. We could call it. No, it's a small workshop. It's 2.5 hours. It's free. It's October 4th. I'll be one of the speakers, and it's with the winecountryspeakers.org. It's where you go and just sign up, and you can listen to us. It's called Speak Up, Stand Out, Elevate Your Influence. It's powerful tips on delivering presentations, and also we're looking for members. So if that might be something you're interested, we meet once a month. But so here we are. We have the 15-degree Pisces Lunar Eclipse coming up, the old sea salt. September 7th, 2025. It's the Lunar Saros New South number 9. It started not that far ago because it is a 1,200 year cycle, these Saros cycles. And it was July 1917. John, you wanted to comment on the Saros cycles, I think.
Yeah, every eclipse, lunar or solar, they belong to a Saros series, and they will start and end at either the North Pole or the South Pole. And the cycle is 223 synodic months, which is 18 years, 11 days, and 8 hours. A Saros series actually lasts from 1,200 to 1,500 years. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Oh, I looked up the word Saros, and it's Greek from Babylonian saru, meaning to sweep. So picture an eclipse sweeping across the sky. And so these Saros cycles, they'll start at the poles and they'll appear in streaks across the sky. Those are those eclipse patterns. And they go, of course, across the whole globe, which takes a little over 1,000 or about 1,200 to 1,500 years. And this one's on September 7th is new. It's relatively compared to other thousands, like hundreds and hundreds of years. This is like really new.
Yes, it is. It'll be a partial, and it's because visibility is down around the South Pole. I was looking at that. You'd have to be, which means perhaps the ocean, Antarctica. I know they've been discovering things with Antarctica, which whether there's really something that's from another universe that's down there. I haven't checked that out. My husband.
I wonder if the only people able to see it will be at the tip of South America that gets down south far enough.
I think it's more like Australia, parts of it, or New Zealand. I mean, it's really south. It's way down at the bottom. Well, here's a slide that shows that the sun opposite the moon, of course, but Earth is right in the middle. And now, because it is over 1,200 years, this won't be total. It goes into gaps. It starts where you can hardly see the eclipse, and then it's a partial eclipse, and it's a total eclipse for many cycles. And then it ends that way too, where it's partial, and then you can hardly see it. It is activation, reflection, and discovery. It's at 15 degrees, right in the middle at 22 minutes Pisces. And as far as the time for the East Coast, it's 2 p.m., 2:09 p.m. Let's get right into this.
The moon's with the North Node.
It is. And the sun is with the South Node and Mercury, which is always close. In this case, all in Virgo. So it's this whole dynamic between, as we keep bringing up, about the refinement, the discernment between how to connect possibly with the one mind, the wholeness, what's obstructing, in this case. But part of it is as far as awareness, is this quincunx, which is part of the odd, not an irritating adjustments, an adjustment that we can't quite make with what we've lost or how to nurture ourselves. That could be what we're really evolving into.
The trick of this axis with Pisces, Virgo, so the North Node is what you want to do to grow karmically, and it's a challenging thing to do, and that as we've said before in this podcast, in this show, it's to let go. We're trying to let go. And here you have the sun in the past, the South Node in Virgo saying, but there's all these details.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to.
Right? But with South Node, you can turn all that stuff that you're hung up on into what is the gift of that? What does Virgo bring to help the North Node journey?
Yeah, I'm going to
Which
the
would be
Seattle.
clarity and studying and discrimination and
or letting go of things. I'm going to let go of things in my storage unit. So we'll find out what happens there.
Yeah, there's this interesting dynamic with the moon in Pisces, which is that energy of surrender, which you can think of as letting go. But like John was just saying, letting go is the South Node as well. So we're in this space of Pisces and we're moving towards it. So how do we be in that active state of surrender as our new state of being, as this is how we move forward and are future oriented that way. So I think there's a lot of, we're being asked to kind of tune into our sensitivity and allow ourselves to be sensitive and see what comes up for us.
Yeah.
Because it's all information.
Yeah, well, more than, yes. And it's also a process. And if we can let go of the ego part of ourselves that wants to foresee and determine and regulate and allow this transference, like being on a wave, really just rolling with the surf or rolling in the ocean, of encountering and experiencing and making our choices as we navigate,
that speaks to Neptune and Aries ruling that moon and North Node in Pisces.
Yeah. Here we have more quincunx. It's a huge adjustment, huge bunch of that we're being asked to do. And remember, this is the lunar, folks, because we're in this season, we're feeling these vibrations. It is all vibrations. We know that. And ahead next month in September on the 21st, on the equinox, will be the next lunar solar eclipse. So look at these adjustments.
Do you remember the game Pick Up Sticks?
Yes, I love
the
it.
sticks, and you had to pick one out and try not to move the others. That's what this reminds me of. You have, what am I going to work on? Inevitably, it's going to have to touch the others. And you're very gingerly doing this work, right?
And none of them feel like we can do much with them either. You know, quincunxes they're just challenging to work with. Yeah. And this is part of, and we're seeing 4 here. It's going to show up like in all different areas of our lives with this full moon, with this eclipse. And so that speaks again to just tuning into our sensitivity, tuning into our feelings, like tuning into where do we need to put our energy right now.
Yes,
we may be very sensitive in terms of like just psychic sponges taking in so much information that we want to be really careful and protect our energies and do our best not to go into overwhelm or escapist behavior. You know?
I think it is a matter of tuning into the self rather than letting with the external, allow that to be, but learn exactly.
And isn't that's the Neptune Saturn reality that we're building for ourselves, this new self-identity for ourselves that's coming into focus.
Yeah. The supportive energies here are between what had earlier perhaps not been necessarily available to us, but one is that the moon is now working with Jupiter, you know, that it rules. In fact, they have a mutual reception you could call. I'm glad you brought this up, Amanda. I had forgotten to.
Yeah, this is a really beautiful aspect, that Jupiter trining the moon for this eclipse. Like Jupiter is the benefic. It brings good tidings. As long as we're able to release some stuff. It wants to bring in good stuff, but we've got to release the old stuff.
When it's like fair weather, if I have to jump in and say that, because I always think of malefic and benefit or whatever, it's like, because too much of a good thing is not good. That's what that release point comes in. Like there needs to be a balance. And if you don't want to release, then Jupiter will, expand
and it will be too much. But it's very supportive in this eclipse energy.
But I think so, because somehow we're putting together the perspective of our Jupiterian viewpoints, that what's important with us, by getting in touch with those feelings. And also Sirius has a lot to do with feelings and our losses and our values and all of that. John, should we jump on with point of Thales?
Sure.
Here, okay. Again, it's that point, because we have so much. These are really powerful. And so again, we have our friend Jupiter is not quite so strong here, but what really is strong is this Neptune Saturn. It's not only in that eternally or extended mini trine of focus, where we're changing with the new things and getting down to our roots of, well, by roots I mean Saturnian consciousness of the big universe. But it's also in this beautiful point of Thales, looking at the rats.
Yeah, they become the real focal when you have planets at the focal point of two different configurations. Saturn and Neptune are at the point of that mini trine and that point of Thales. So they're the bosses here, obviously, or they're going to make things happen or make things shift. They're dealing with the sky god Uranus with sudden ideas opposing the sacred fire of Vesta, and Juno trying to keep things in the relationship solid. Very challenging. Sorry, I'm just rambling now.
Tall orders. No, go ahead.
And Saturn, if you'll notice, has moved back into Pisces. So it's back in this Pisces energy for the last time before it finally goes into Aries. And so here it is in this beautiful trine to Juno and Vesta, and in this supportive energy with Pluto and Uranus. And here we're being asked to kind of step back into that Pisces mastery that we've been working on since 2023.
Plus the fact, I have to say, Uranus is also retrograde. So now we have all of them retrograde. Powerful. Okay, third quarter is crisis in consciousness. So we've gone from seed point to crisis in action, go, to this eclipse, which is revelation, or what did we say? Yeah, to now it's like, okay, what's that new consciousness doing? And it will be on the 14th of September. But also the fact is, this is leading into the following week with the solar eclipse. So and it's in Gemini, also ruled by Mercury. Mercury is very importantly.
The moon is also square the nodes. And so this is an important integration point for us. We're integrating what we've learned through this whole cycle and what information we've received during this eclipse, which is, could be quite a lot. And so with this moon being in Gemini, integrating may mean talking with somebody about what you've learned. It may be writing things down. It may be doing automatic writing where you allow information to flow through you. So finding ways to kind of metabolize the information is important here.
Yes, communication, connection, siblings, your environment, neighbors, or who you consider to be your siblings, in a sense. Yes. Yeah. And the moon, that really emphasizing that toggling between the two dynamics.
And the release point for the moon is the north node in this case. You always stand where the moon is or the planet is that's squaring the nodes, and you turn to your left.
Yes.
And that's the point. So it's the north node. It's just being in this deeper surrender and this deeper relationship with and trust with the universe, with source, however you experience it.
Good. There is, with this last quarter phase of this beginning Virgo new moon in 0 degrees that has now gone into Gemini, a Thor's hammer, which we've brought up in past ones. But this is where, again, we have a focal planet. But this time, everything is action-oriented, and it's like a thrust that goes forward. It drives energy. And it has its relationship that you can read here to find out what that is all about. But it's moving, it's dynamic, it's a change aspect. So we're being called to really, it wants to pack a punch, focused intention. And what for? But strategy. Pallas Athena, who many times perhaps we don't look at, but she was the because in any kind of battle, it's not just what what you're defending or the cause is, like a Martian activation that's instinctive, but strategy, the wisdom, like, okay, it's like chess playing.
With Pallas, go ahead,
Sorry,
John.
go ahead.
Yeah.
So Pallas is also the little asteroid that it's being gifted the rulership of technology. So I find that very intriguing with this configuration.
Good business.
So, challenges with technology. What are we doing here? How are we using our tech?
Sometimes it is very useful just redefining a couple of creative words or something of that sort. But anyway.
And with Pallas in Aquarius, it can be helpful to really take a step back. Aquarius is really good at detaching and looking at the whole big picture. And with a Thor's hammer, one of the ways to work with it is to kind of take that detached space and figure out how, when, and why to kind of strike, because that Pallas is a strike into the energies of the sun and the moon. And that's how we use it with Thor's hammer.
Wow. Well, we also have much help because between there's, again, 5 points of Thales, which is an opposition, but there's those planets that are helpers. They're like guides, they're allies you could think of. And they go all the way from Venus, Jupiter, Saturn and Neptune, Pluto and Juno. So all of these that we've been working with that may be wondering about are also helping in other ways. It's almost like having a kitchen crew, and everybody's got the chef and the sous chef and the et cetera,
Right.
in a
I was
restaurant.
thinking this is like you're on a rocky road, and who are my guides? Well, they're everywhere if you look for them, right?
That's right. Birds, stones, helpers.
Yeah, so there's challenging tasks here, but so much help all around. And I think I again think it speaks to that surrender piece where you're in co-creation with the universe and you're looking for all those pieces because the helpers will be there.
Oh boy, it's so tied together nicely the way you both speak. I'm writing my notes. Well, again, we have these angel wings between, again, in another format, these energies happening right now, Uranus, which is always concerned with the moment and working forward. Let's look at this. We have a couple of minutes, okay? It's, again, we didn't get a chance with the last one with the United States, but here we have that Mars, again, it's trine Mars natally, but it's right on Juno of our, well, it's not, is it? It's 20 to 24. I thought it was, but of alliances. Go ahead.
Well, it is on the 10th house, and the 10th house is the president. That's interesting to think about.
Well, yeah.
In mundane astrology.
Well, it's always interesting. It's validating to see that what we're working with might be an a dynamic that is, it's like if it's cloudy outside and you get rain, it's cloudy. We're going to get rain.
In a mundane chart, the moon is the people, and you have the moon conjunct Mars. So people and president is kind of an interesting thing in this chart.
Yeah, and leadership as far as Saturn, which it had been at earlier, and it's in the first quarter, and it's moving over. I don't know what it'll. Amanda, you have something on your tongue. I can hear it. No,
I do not. Not about this.
Okay. All right. Well, there's so many. It's like a kettle that's still cooking. It's like a stew that we put together, and there's so many factors, but it's dynamic factors because our values, what's pure values, our philosophies. Actually, the philosophy with Jupiter and Mercury, our connections are right tight together. It's okay, here we have, maybe this is the most fun. Here we're appearing out, and the Virgo solar eclipse coming up after that will be quite the story. Thank you, Amanda and John.
Thank you.
Yeah. Surrendering. Yeah.
It's good to see you both this month. Have a great month.
Yeah, see the
both
big
of you
picture.
And everyone out there.
Yeah, we'll
see y'all later.
redefine and we'll connect. We'll have a lot of experience come up next month. So blessings to everybody. Labor Day weekend, enjoy. And yes, make your intentions if you have time right now.
Thank you for joining an insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her panel of guests awaken consciousness by connecting soul growth patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.